Spider's back! Back to back, 3 in a row for the last session. And this is going to be on 10th franchise team for Halifax, Nova Scotia, if it's going to happen or not. And a comment Randy Ambrosi made recently when he was in Ottawa to the Red Blacks game, I guess last week with Tiger Cats. And good for Matt Dunnigan coming out and basically tell him that the 13 snap so-called American Canadian nationalized rule is a joke and it's a disgrace to our league. Another part of the ridiculous Canadian ratio and the Canadian Players Association majority of 465 pushing fans around and our game around, our 3-down game around and destroying it. It's just unbelievable. It's so discriminatory. It's discriminatory towards American players. Without American players, top American, but Canadian CFL, I mean, the CFL wouldn't even exist. It had been out of business a long time ago. So Randy Ambrosi, you need to go. And what we're going to talk about is what Randy Ambrosi said on radio, on Ottawa 1200 radio, okay, in Ottawa, and said that the expansion is on the doorstep. Basically, behind the scenes, they're talking really quiet, and it's on the doorstep of happening, and is referring to Halifax, because there's nothing happened in Quebec, and nothing happening. This is Halifax he's referring to. It's on the doorstep. On the doorstep. Everybody remembers Touchdown Atlantic at St. Mary's. Well, I was down there today taking pictures just for this session. Okay? And I actually... I should have used that last time. I'm sorry, I was so hyped up. I don't think I was ever that hyped up throughout the whole session, from the start to the beginning of the last 2 sessions. The one on the handcuffing dictated Canadian ratio to a point that is getting just ridiculous. I mean, so it's destroying the CFL, and of course, on my CFL Red Zone rule. And those 2 sessions, I don't think I've ever been that hyped up and that so pissed off, and that I'm sorry, it's all coming off my head. There's no notes. There's not anything. It's all off my tongue. I just improvise whatever comes out of my mouth, and it's hard. It's hard. I don't want to sound repetitive, but there's certain zingers I use, there's certain lines I use that I have to keep using because I want to make sure people understand my CFL rules, Red Zone rules, and enforcement rule. I understand how it eliminates the 2 biggest killers of our CFL 3-down game in the red zone, that being repetitive 2 and outs, okay, that are boring and resulting in more non-eventful, predictable, distasteful, easy chip shot field goals in the red zone. Both completely eliminated with my CFL Red Zone rule. So that's why it's so important to emphasize that, okay? But this session is going to be totally on, okay, St. Mary's, okay, Touchdown Atlantic, okay, what it was in relation to in St. Mary's last summer to this makeshift stadium, what's happening there now, and I have pictures to show you, what's transpired there now, because there's a lot of construction going on with the Exchange building coming off the cafeteria, what it looks like now, what the possibilities now are in relation to a 10th CFL team and a suitable stadium to play in Halifax that doesn't exist in Halifax, and what's going on the Wanderers grounds that's being kept quiet, but things are leaking out a bit, and Derek Martin said something recently, and what's going on there. And it's pretty obvious what's going to happen there, and I'm going to go over all this. It's very important, okay? One thing I forgot to do in my last session, no I didn't. I was going to do this last session, I was going to break open a cold schooner beer, just because of my throat, and because I changed and I forget to go down and get it. So anyway, an invisible drink, oh my God, that tastes good. Well, I have to have it after I do these 3 back-to-back. I'm going to be more calmer this time because I don't think I've ever done that. Back-to-back, it was instant, by the way, live, no remakes, no retakes, nothing. It was back-to-back like seconds after the other, and it's when I have a voice, because man, was I ever hyped up, was I ever into it, and I hope I got my point across, because I call a spade, and I tell it the way it is, and I don't tell bullshit, okay? I tell it the way it is. I give you the facts, what's really going on, and about my CFL Red Zone rule, and the real truth about my rule, and the real truth about Randy and Brosie's little gimmicky hash pipe, hash mark rule, narrow hash mark rule. That's a complete cabal, complete disaster. I couldn't spit that one out. But anyway, I wanted to read something, as I'm going to be talking to you, because I wanted to read something that Eric McLeod put up last time, and I'm sorry I didn't read it, and I said I would read it, but meanwhile I'm going to keep talking to you as I'm trying to find it, what he said in relation to the Wanderers grounds and Eric Martin and so forth, and the CFL team, 10th franchise team in Halifax. But meanwhile, I'm going to talk to you as I'm going. So this session is going to be all on that, and what Randy and Brosie said in Ottawa at the Ottawa Red Blacks, okay, Hamilton Tiger Cat game last week on radio on TSN 1200, okay, where they asked him about expansion, what's going on expansion in Halifax, and he said we're on the doorstep. Imagine, we're on the doorstep, which means, you know, on the doorstep. Well, that means okay, I'm just trying to find something here. So that means if we're on the doorstep, that means then it must be close to being happening if you're right on the doorstep. But are you bullshitting? That's the thing. Are you bullshitting? Okay. I have a new, I want you to write comments in, because I'll read some of them, okay? I have a new person called Alan Fullerton, okay? It says the Schooners, Atlantic Schooners will never happen. They want hockey in Halifax, not football. That was his comment. And where was, I just wonder if I can, I think Eric's comment was here. Eric McLeod. Yeah, I'm going to read his comment, okay? And then I'm going to get into my session. Okay, so Eric McLeod, a good supporter and fan of mine, says, and also Mir Savage and Mancini, Tony Mancini, who's the council, and the communist socialists who waste all our, basically our money, okay, on woke bullshit. He says, let me just see if I can get the whole thing here. Oh gosh, I don't know why that didn't come up. I'm sorry, but the whole thing didn't come up, Eric. I don't know why it didn't, but it just didn't. I'm sorry, Eric. I don't know why that didn't come up. I was going to read something. Oh boy, I'm sorry about that. But maybe here's another one. I read Nightcrawler, okay. Oh yeah, here it is. Here's the one. Derek Martin, this is Eric McLeod. Derek Martin claims he has 6,000 per game at a Halifax Wanderers game, but watch the video, he has 4. And I tops, and I believe that's right. He's a bullshitter. He's a radical leftist liberal bullshitter. And now he says the Wanderers have lost every game this season. The fans are questioning if the CPL is really a pro sports league. Well, he's right. But the thing is, Eric, here's what's happening, and that's why I'm into this session. This is going to be all on pot is what Randy Brosie just recently said in Ottawa, that the 10th CFL franchise is on the doorstep in Halifax. Behind the scenes, they're talking quietly, and they're doing quietly and taking their time. Like, damn right they're taking their time. Well, one person made a comment on, I think, Let's Talk CFL. He says, I think Randy and Brosie hit his head in the doorstep. He thinks he's a bullshitter, right? So, anyway, Eric McLeod, let's and CFL fans out there and sports fans in general, let's talk about what's really going on in Halifax. I'm going to show you some pictures of St. Mary's I just took today and what that looks like, the footprint now. But what's happening with Halifax Wanderers grounds footprint in relation to Derek Martin's proposal of only 8,500 seats, okay? Okay, $40 million and $20 million of that are, you know, for sewer and water and an artificial turf, so his sons who are playing high school football team or high school football can be played on, not the CFL course with 8,500 seats, of course. It can only be expandable apparently to 13, so the footprint is a joke unless they remove the the Lancers buildings, the horse buildings, and the lawn bowling. And then you could turn it, okay, reconfigure Wanderers Ground. It would be a fantastic place to build a stadium like Hamilton or Ottawa and expandable to 30,000, say 24,000 permanent seats, with all the amenities, skyboxes, everything, open concourses, and expandable to 30,000 plus for Grey Cup. It would be ideal and a perfect location. But it's not going to happen. I'll tell you why it's not going to happen. I sent this to try to get the CAO, Kathy O'Toole, but the problem is the city's so political you can't get anything to anybody because they're hated so much. The radical leftists with all their druggy encampments, there's more to come. There's 35, there's more to come. Like they're everywhere, and all the drug pandas all over the streets, and yeah, and Trudeau homeless lads running simultaneously with recruiting more druggies and criminals and more criminal drug encampments all over Halifax. So Trudeau can push his crooked, lying, scam, corrupt homeless ads, okay? Using that crooked narrative to try to get reelected when the real truth is they're all druggies and criminals, breaking into businesses, destroying their city, doing criminal graffiti all over the city, like drug panhandle all over the city, all drugged out in their intersection. It's just unbelievable. Radical leftist run city of Mayor Savage and Trudeau behind the whole thing, just like he's doing in Vancouver with the mayor. It's unbelievable, but this is what's happened to our city, and this is what we got to live in. It's so unsafe to walk, to drive, to shop. I never shop in Spring Garden Road. I wouldn't even go near downtown. It's unbelievable. They're everywhere. And the drug encampments all up University Avenue, right up the Dal now, and Children's Hospital, all the way. It's unbelievable. All over the place, everywhere. On the Commons now. It's unbelievable. But let's get back to this session. I'm going to get really upset again because as a property owner taxpayer, I am, like every majority of people here, they're fed up with these radical, crooked, leftist liberals that are destroying our city. Mayor Savage and his gang and Trudeau is in on the whole thing. Anyway, so that's why Wanderers Grounds is going to be a Mickey Mouse prefabricated modular CPL only soccer stadium of 8,500 seats, okay? Because the women's soccer team is going to play there. It's going to be 6 teams. And by the way, I hope they don't destroy Calgary, where Calgary's playing, the university there. They may have to get out of there and build a new stadium. Maybe that'd be writing beyond the wall because they can't be taking off their logos and the end zone and center field for their crappy little, hate to say it, nothing against soccer, but that's what it's going to be. Women's soccer, they'll never stay in business. Where they get money, you're going to get the fan. They're never going to stay in business. They're trying to push the CFL around, just like the Mayor Savage, CFL hater, and his sleazy, radical leftist, liberal, corrupt councillors that are CFL haters with their ridiculous CPL. So, you know how many CPL soccer teams in Canada in financial trouble? Most of them. And Edmonton folded. Winnipeg's going to fold. York is up for sale. That's going to fold. Halifax, Eric McLeod, you're right. They're not getting 6,000. They're getting 4,000 or less. It's a scam. And he's going to get $40 million. Only $20 million, getting back to what I was saying, because the other 20 is for sewer, water, and infrastructure and artificial turf. So his sons can play high school football on it. Or high school football can play it. It's all political leftist, liberal, radical leftist, okay, liberal crap. And because, see, like even with the footprint there, if they put a double-decker on and use part of which I sent an email to the CAO, Halifax never got there, they could do something like St. Mary's could do, and they could put maybe 22,000 seats in there, and they could probably on the Somerville side street knock the street out like they did BMO, okay, for Grey Cup, and temporarily close the street and expand there in the end zone, and the same with the lawn bowling end zone there. They could expand there, you know, and for a Grey Cup and go up and they could have a Grey Cup game there if they utilized every bit of space, even, but they'd have to make the road into the like I said to them, into the Lancers buildings half that size, because it's too wide now. They have to, because they'd have to have a hangar similar to St. Mary's. Okay, so it'd have to go up, okay, and more in an angle, and have a upper deck, lower deck with a hangar on the main side in Bell Road at the Wanderers, and then on the Sackville side, it's not as much room there, but they'd have to be smaller, upper and lower bowl, with both with roofs, partial roofs, and with smaller hangar, but all the way down to the corner of the end zones on both sides, and I think if you've done it right, you could come close to putting 20,000 in there. If you had on the main side, you'd have to build a large hangar down over. You could probably go up 25 rows on the lower bowl, but you'd have to go up a lot higher, up to 40 rows or more in the upper bowl, right? You could maybe put 30 if you upright it more with open concourse and Bell Road side with a large upper deck hangar. You put another 40 rows up there, go up high, and on the other side you couldn't go up that high, but you could go probably 20 rows and another 20, okay, on that side. You could probably put 10 or 12 on the main side, and another 7, 8 on that side, and then 2,000 probably where the lawn bowling where it still is, there in that end zone, and another 2,000 standing, probably in a bowl type area, in the end zone by Summer Street, and you could put 22 to 24,000, and then, like I said, for how they'd expand it in the end zones temporarily for a Grey Cup game, to get up to 28,000 to 30,000 plus. You don't know how high they could go up, but they could do it, and I proposed that to them. But the ideal situation would be for the Lancers to be relocated in a more favorable and a better location, and the lawn bowling go over to the Commons. That's an easy one. Put it over to the main Commons, okay? So you utilize the space in that end zone more and put more seats in. But you'd have to have back seats with cups. You have to have washrooms and permanent washrooms and a restaurant, lounge in there somewheres, and concessions, and you could have probably the Sackville side. Maybe you couldn't go with a concourse, but you'd have to have some sort of, on the back you'd have to put washrooms and some sort of concourse. It may not be open, but between the upper and lower bowl, it wouldn't be near as high, but I said you could probably put 7 or 8 over there. You go all the way down to the corner of the end zones. But there's a way. You get a good architect and design it properly, and use angle, upright, angle, height, and go up, okay? It's how you build it on angles. You can't build it out like this and go up. You have to build it up like that and bring it up on more of an angle, straight, right, and bring it right up. That's what you have to do. It can be done there, but the ideal would be to relocate to Lancers buildings, relocate that to a better location, and same with the lawn bowling. Then you turn it, reconfigure it, and it'd be unbelievable what you could do there for stadium. Build one like Ottawa, Hamilton, or even better. Okay, and you'd be surprised what you could build in Nova Scotia, where you'd have the land, and for 100 to 120 million. In St. Mary's, we're going to get to that in St. Mary's, but getting back to the Wanderers grounds, here's the situation that's going on in Wanderers ground. Derek Martin had their sleaze bags from the city councils with their consultants in there, figuring out if they can put his little Mickey Mouse, little CPL, little prefabricated modular, little Mickey Mouse 8,500 seat. Imagine, and the Metro Center, Scotiabank Center is 11,000, 40 years old. They renovated the whole thing. It holds 11,000, it's indoor. It's built 40 years ago, and they would have put that little Mickey Mouse thing for CPL soccer, which would probably fold in 3 years, the link. Imagine, it's so political because of leftists, radical leftists, Mayor Savage and his radical leftists, you know, bunch of gangs down there. There's what they do in their city is unbelievable. What they have done to their city is criminal. It's corrupt. I'm going to send an email to Premier Houston on this and on the stadium situation, because with the women's soccer and it's so liberal politic driven. It's radical leftist liberal politic driven. With now the women's little soccer league, 16 now they're going to use the ones. That's what they're going to build there. It's only $20 million. That's all it's going to be. The stadium, something. It's going to be Mickey Mouse. St. Mary's got to be in play. So I only got 7 minutes, so I got to talk about St. Mary's because I want to talk about this. So Randy Ambrosi, I don't believe a word you say. You're on the doorstep. You're full of shit. But I'm going to send an email to Premier Houston and say stay away, because they're trying to get money out for that Mickey Mouse little thing for their CPL and their women's soccer league team. Okay, out of Premier Houston, I'm going to say stay away for elections coming up. Put money into St. Mary's for a CFL team. And St. Mary's, they had Exchange building, never should have ever been put there. It's going to cause trouble, but here's what's going on down there now. Let me show you. Okay? See this here? I hope you can see it. That's what I just took. That's behind where the main stands was, where there was 7,500 to 8,000 seats. Okay? That's what's behind it. Okay? There's a pretty big green area there where they could go, like from the 35-yard line down because of the Exchange building. I'll show you that in a second. There's where the Exchange building is there. That comes out at the 35. Well, actually, doesn't really come out at the 35. Comes out at about the 20. Okay? But I'm going to show you something here. Get another shot here. So yeah, you can see that that's one I just showed you. It comes out around the 20, but where that post, that light post is down there, where there's only 5-tier stands there, it's ridiculous. They're 15 yards away from the corner of the Exchange building there. So, so there's a possibility, and I'll show you another picture I took from where they made a walk. That's the thing, they made a walk. And where there was 30 rows of seats, they made a walk. See, there's another shot of that main area where they could put an upper deck and a hangar over top. I'm just trying to find. Okay, here's what's happening. Right here by the Exchange building, there's a walk that goes down. That's where the 30 rows of seats came up. Okay, from the 35-yard line down to that end zone. Okay, and so I'll show you exactly where it came. Right there. Right there is where it came, where that fence is. Okay, corner. That's where it started. That's where the 40 rows, approximately where the 40 rows. Actually, no, I'm confused now. I'm sorry. See if I can find a better picture. Oh, so hard. I'm sorry about that. There it is. That's where that pole was for the lights. Well, 15 yards from the pole, okay, is where the 30 rows started, okay? And from that pole, just over, they went 40 rows up, down to the end zone, on the corner of the end zone. So that's what they're up against there. Like, there's less space there. They go up 30 rows, but they're going to use a track. But if they angled it, they could do it. But from the 35, the 36 down, they'd probably have to go. They would have to go up. Okay, 35 to 40 rows there for about 5 or 8 yards, and then they could go up higher and put an upper deck hangar up to another 40 rows, 35, 40 on top of that, and go right down to the corner of the end zone. There's lots of room where the old Squirt Clark is, and there's even way more room in the far end zone, okay, where I think I have a picture of it here. I think I do. There's lots of room in this far end zone down here. This far end zone where the tower is, the residence tower, lots of room there. So I come up with a proposal, and I proposed, you know, to St. Mary's to go with an upper deck hangar, okay, and go up higher and go cornered on the end zone, okay, from 35, 37 down, and 30 rows. They could probably still do it. It'll be a little tighter there, but you know, things can be moved. Some of those light poles, they can be moved. The fence, of course, be moved. They already have the concrete wall there implemented, already put in place, but you know, you need an upper deck with an open concourse because you need permanent washrooms and concessions and so forth. And the skybox has got to go on that side too. Okay, and the press boxes, okay, where are the, on the other side, okay, right here, okay, where there's only 1,000 seats over there, okay, the equipment room would have to come out, they go use the track, go up over, you put lower and upper bowl, something like Montreal, with an open concourse incorporated with the lounge inside, the alumni lounge, and you could put another 8,000 over there easy. And in the score, where the old scoreboard clock is, you can put another 2,500 seats in there, and 2,000 or more standing in the larger end zone area, so it's doable. But whether or not Kim Houston, I'm going to send another email to him because you know what's going to happen to the Wanderers grounds. It's not going to happen there. They're not going to move the Lancers building or the lawn bowling. It's all political, liberal, leftist, crooked politics. So it's got to happen to St. Mary's or happen in a site that the province owns in the city that they can do the real McCord. They'll have to deal with Exchange Building and all the obstacles of St. Mary's on track, although they could say they would use the track to build it right up over the buildings, okay? So, I mean, you could, if you put 8 on that side, I would say, I had a proposal for 9 where the buildings is on that side, and for 11 or 12 on the other side, so you can easily put 24,000 and easily expand it to 30,000 for a Grey Cup game at the St. Mary's, okay, if it's designed and engineered properly. There it is. Will a 10th team happen at St. Mary's or in Halifax? It depends on Premier Houston. Election coming up, Houston. Put the money into St. Mary's. Let's get a 10th team, the Atlantic Schooners, for Halifax.